I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And a happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there. Scott Duff here along with Ellen Miller.
Good morning, Scott Duff.
Good morning, Ellen Miller.
Nice
It's
to see
so
your face
beautiful out there today.
It's gorgeous.
Girl.
Fantastic.
Girl, Bring us along on your phone and go outside now. It's so pretty out there, Chicago.
It's a beautiful day.
It is a gorgeous day. Great to see your mug. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I can't complain.
Good. Then you're not trying hard enough because we can complain at just about anything around here.
I'm happy about everybody around me, my personal life.
That is good.
It's the world that bothers me.
Well, hey, we'll
talk about that.
We've got some solutions to what's bothering you. We got a great show lined up for you today. Allison Gash, professor of political science at the University of Oregon, contributor to the Washington Monthly, and co-founder and president of Our School, a nurturing and creative anti-racist space for LGBTQ plus young people. She's going to be joining us later on this hour. I thought it'd be a great little fit, especially since CPS went back to school this week.
Yes, they did.
They sure did. And girl, you got to release your inner geek. Dungeons and Dragons 20-Sided Tavern is now playing at Broadway in Chicago's Broadway Playhouse at Water Tower Place. It's an immersive theater experience that takes audiences beyond the tabletop and onto the stage, where each performance combines comedy, emotion, and thrilling moments to deliver a unique narrative shaped by the audience. And one of the show's guest stars and producers, and a good buddy of mine, Anjali Bhamani, she's going to be joining us. She is one of the most talented, crazy smart people I've ever encountered.
I look forward to meeting her.
She's wonderful.
Sounds great.
We actually had her on the show.
Her name's familiar.
It's been a couple years ago because she's in LA. She came in to do a special reading of the Vagina Monologues.
Oh, I remember that. Yes,
with our friends Miriam Plotkin and Maya Rosenfeld. Because they all did the show here in Chicago back in the 90s.
Right.
So they were doing that as a fundraiser. Mm-hmm. And as I said, CPS schools, they've gone back.
Yes,
CPS students have gone back to school. So we thought it might be nice to highlight some student leaders and talk to the folks behind Action Camp, which brings together leaders from GSAs and youth groups across the state to learn from one another and shape the safer school movement. Jess Levine, Associate Director of Camper Experience, is going to join us in the second hour. And of course, we would love to hear from you. And that means that the Credo mobile phone and text line is open at 773-763-9278. And WCPT listeners can now get 25% off for 2 years at Credo Mobile with the code WCPT25. Credo Mobile, a progressive phone company that is better for all people and the planet. Visit credomobile.com. And if you want to hear all of us, of course, you can tune in on WCPT AM 820 on TuneIn, heartlandsignal.com, or watch the live stream on the WCPT Facebook page or the Heartland Signal YouTube page. And, of course, follow everybody on the socials. That includes Heartland Signal. There we are.
Yes,
and if you tune in on the YouTubes, you can see my Missy Elliott shirt because
I love it.
I love this shirt so much. I actually yesterday marked 1 year of when my spirit left my body and just floated above me, watching her.
What a glorious day it was.
It was. So I needed some Missy energy.
But you got that cool shirt to remind you of the moment.
I know. The best thing is, like, driving in here, as soon as the sun hits it, it becomes a giant disco ball.
Does it distract some of the other drivers?
I don't know. That's what I'm kind of worried about, because I have gone, there are times I'm like, ooh, because I'm distracted. All of a sudden it's like, what's going on my steering wheel? It's like this giant disco ball moment. I'm like, oh no, am I blinding people?
You can see it's very, very, very shiny.
It's very shiny, glittery, and stony.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's so
I love
busy.
that kind of shirt.
I love her.
Yeah.
Anyway, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's been a sporty few days for me. I went to like 5 Cub games.
Of course you did.
Because I could. And I got invited to a couple. Our friend Andrea Darlis invited us to go with her last Sunday. And they won. It was a lot of fun. And we went to a couple of games last week. They were makeup games for rainouts, so there were a lot of tickets. And you can find last-minute tickets sometimes on the reseller. So we did that, and a poignant week on Thursday night. There's the Lynn Bramer. It was second annual Lynn Bramer Scholarship Fund Memorial Concert.
Wow.
Lynn passed away a couple of years ago, and they did a concert in August of 2023. I guess it was. I'm losing my which was a fundraiser and kind of a public memorial for Lynn.
Right, yeah.
And then this year they brought back the fundraiser at Metro again. Money goes to scholarship funds for kids in need, smart kids that may not have the wherewithal financially to go to college. And the first set of scholarships went out last year. And one of the girls, a young woman, cute as a button up there. She's a freshman at DePaul. And
oh, wow.
They had her at the intermission. It just makes you feel good. And I know Lynn would have loved it. So it was a lot of great music. I know you're not a baseball guy, really, but Ryan Dempster, who used to be on the Cubs, he sang a Springsteen song, he's pretty good.
Okay.
And
what Springsteen song?
I don't remember which one it was.
Because sometimes you can totally fudge your way through a Springsteen song.
I'm sure that my resident he did a good job. I know that Kathy is a huge Springsteen fan, and she probably will text me with the name. It was great. I recorded it and it was fun. And it was just a lot of there were tears because they had a video screen in back of the bands that were playing, and they had Lynn. He used to be in the studio, Scott, and he dancing around, doing crazy dance moves. I mean, he was just. He let it all out.
Yeah,
he was that kind of a guy.
One in a million.
So it was good to remember him for a good cause, to be with my former colleagues.
Hey, I got a question for you. So since it was for a scholarship fund, if folks weren't able to go, is there a way that they might be able to contribute?
Yes.
Because, I know Lynn played such a huge part in your life, and to continue to honor his legacy might be a great way to...
I will get you that info.
Cool,
yes, there is. You can donate to the fund.
Oh, that's awesome.
For sure.
I mean, especially since it's going towards, education.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing. And Lynn was one of the smartest guys I ever known, and a great writer. So they had him, on the screen and back, and it was a really special night. And then on Friday morning, I met my sister and went to the funeral for Ryan Sandberg. It was televised, but they were also doing it at Gallagher Way, which it felt good. It was on the big screen. It was from St. Pat's, and it just, I was a big fan of Ryan Sandberg's, as so many people were. I was in my 20s when he joined the team. We're similar age. And those are years that were very special, new in Lakeview, going to a lot of Cub games, working, in radio at XRT. So it was a really special and really beautiful service. The pastor, the priest, Catholic priest, actually had a relationship with Ryan and was telling some good stories. That's when you really, it's all the pomp and circumstance of funerals. But when people can tell you stories about the person that they're honoring, and it really gives you insight into their personality, and it just adds a whole layer of appreciation, I think.
And it's fun that you say that, because my sister, who is also a priest, when she does funerals, she's always she strives for that, let's talk about who this person was and who, how they moved about in the world, as opposed to their, necessarily their,
Right.
He's a sports hero.
Right, we know about that, but how exactly? But what kind of a person?
What kind of
person
was he? Yeah, what sort of thing? And I know that's always what she's striving for whenever she has to.
And that is a beautiful way to honor people that have passed that you care about. I went to a bunch of funerals a couple of years ago. I went to 3 in a day. 3 in a day.
I remember that.
And the lesson that I learned, Scott, is try to learn as much as you can about people before they die. Because there were so many things I learned about these men. They were all men. They were my friends' fathers, and another gentleman on the Will's, the bar by my house, and we became good friends. I'm like, I wish I would have known that. I would have talked to them about that. I would have asked them about that. I would have thanked them for what they did. But it seems like we always learn more about somebody after they pass. But the lesson is learn about the people you care about. Ask them questions.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Yeah. Always ask questions.
Ask questions. So it was a great weekend. I did. Scott asked me about this shirt. It says Case Oates. Kathy and I went to the Hideout on Friday night to see a band called Case Oates. It's the artist is Casey Gomez Walker. Happens to be Spencer Tweedy's fiance.
Oh.
And Spencer is the drummer in the band.
Okay.
He produced the album. It's getting like some critical acclaim. The Sun Times wrote it up on Friday, and just she's got that. She's got something special. Her style is kind of a talking, singing kind of style. I mean, she sings, but it's that kind of modern style that you're hearing from young, particularly female singers these days. Great songs, great lyrics, great musicianship. Just a wonderful night. And, her mom was there, who I've gotten to know from her other shows. They live in Missouri. Her dad played sax, and he came up and played. He was fabulous. And Spencer's mom, Sue, who I've known for many years, Sue Miller Tweedy. So it was a lovin'. It was a lovin'.
You had a very, very big week.
I did.
And you saw Indigo Girls and Melissa Etheridge last Sunday.
Last Sunday, I didn't know what to expect because, everybody's aging and you never know how they're going to do. Both of them knocked it out of the park, Scott.
Love it. I know you were sending me videos. I do too.
I mean, the Indigos were great. I mean, it's a sing-along, of course. And Melissa, man, she played harp better than I've ever heard her play harmonica. And she played drums along with the drummer.
What?
Yeah, she got up. She was literally playing along with him for a long solo, and I'm like, I've never heard her in better form.
Come on, Melissa.
So yeah, that's been like the highlights of my life.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So and
girl, how
about you?
I bought a trash can.
Okay,
like that's about like
well, that
is the wild life that I am leading these days. Yeah.
You know what?
No, it's been like,
There's been
kind of I know. It's been like kind of cool. I will say, working in retail, at the snack factory, it has been kooky pants. Just kooky pants.
Your store is like one of the busiest stores.
It is the busiest store in the region.
In the region.
And the region goes down to like Louisiana. Like it's I met a Trader Joe's guy who works somewhere else. He's I said my friend works. I told him about you, and he goes, "Oh, that's the busiest store." Yeah, it is. It is kooky pants. So I have been like a little pooped.
But isn't it better? I'd rather be busy than bored.
Oh, 100%. But it's like, maybe not that busy.
Yeah. Right.
But then, like, we've had those crazy storms that came in, like the past 2 weeks. So I live across the street from a cemetery with gigantic
trees.
Cottonwood trees that are, I mean, they're like 50 feet tall, if not taller. They're huge and old and beautiful, and they annoy me in June when they release their little puff balls. Oh, it's awful. One of them went down. And it came across the street, and if it weren't for another tree on our side of the street, it would have fallen right into our bedroom. It moved, like it hit this tree, it kind of moved over to the side, it fell across Ravenswood going up there. When I got home at 9:30 at night on Tuesday, there was a crew already out there trying to like clear it up and everything, and it looked kind of like Jurassic Park because like there are these big trees and there were these lights shining through trees up here, and see them trying to like, they're kind of moving back and forth. They did not leave until 10 o'clock the next morning. Like God. It was just,
that's the main street. I mean, Ravenswood, right?
Yeah, it was just cuckoo bananas doing that. And they're doing all of this construction is driving me crazy.
It's driving everybody crazy. Everybody. Especially people who live in the suburbs that commute.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just saying, for some reason, they're doing all of this stuff on the north side right now, like near my place. So, like, you cannot drive down Ridge. They have detoured traffic through Andersonville. You can't make left-hand turns along Ashland or Clark through Andersonville because they don't want them to go down, cut through residential neighborhoods.
Good to know, because we go down Ridge to go to Glee Golf.
Nope. It is called, you cannot get there. There's a big old, from Clark all the way down to Broadway.
How long has that been going on?
That's been going on since June.
And how long will it continue?
September. We're getting close. Yeah. But then they're also redoing Ravenswood. And a lot of the side streets. So it's like, and they're like weird, messed up new like line, like traffic, like where they're how the traffic works. They put 2 bike lanes on either side of Ravenswood. It is not a wide street. So it looks like it's just one line of traffic that cars can. It's so strange, so very confusing, that Alderman Andre Vasquez had to put out a video to show how to drive down the street. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
Because not everybody's going to see the video. It's going to cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, it's going to cause a lot. So it's just been maddening trying to get anywhere.
Yeah, it really is. We were last weekend. We were in the suburbs both nights in the western suburbs, and it took an hour and 45 minutes to drive to Willowbrook. It was the perfect storm of air and water show ending, Cubs game, and a storm.
Oh, gross.
But we had, we had dinner plans. I had the dessert.
Yeah. I was bringing the dessert.
Oh my God. It was just, oh God. It's rough out there. Today I use Waze to get into work, and this is our 12th year here. 99% of the time I'm on the Kennedy Expressway. That's the way to get here. I'm on side streets.
It took me
on the side streets, and it still took me 35 minutes. So
yeah, it's
hopefully the end is near.
Please,
it can't come soon enough.
No, yeah, 100%.
I know we're going to go to break, but I just wanted to mention that Case Oates, her record is called Last Missouri Exit. It just came out this weekend, so check it out on Spotify.
Where in Missouri is she from?
She's from your neck of the woods. She's from St. Louis.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
All right. There we go.
Yeah, right there, yeah.
There we are.
Yes.
Some
good people coming from there.
Good people coming from there. And let me tell you, this, aside from all the construction and me living the high life of buying a trash can,
yes.
It is one of those fancy ones where you just wave in front of it and it opens up. Looks kind of like, do you remember that game, Mr. Mouth? Mr. Mouth.
Even Paul's younger than me. He doesn't remember it.
It was this thing that it had this. It was looked like two yellow Dixie cups put together with googly eyes on it, and it would open up and move around the board, and you had to try to shoot little chips.
I missed that one entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
Why did I bring that up?
I don't know, because of the garbage can.
Oh, my garbage can. That's what it is. Yeah.
And it accepts your garbage.
Boom, there we are. But we've had we've had a couple. I've lucked out on the neighbor lottery twice now. It is so amazing. We have our new neighbors, a fabulous lesbian couple, had us over for, it was one of their birthdays of one of the couples. So we went and had a wonderful time hanging out with them this weekend. Some more lesbitarians. They have a child who is getting ready. She's getting ready to go study abroad.
Oh, yeah.
In Jordan.
Oh,
yeah. So
interesting place to go.
I know. So we had a big farewell kind of thing for her, which is we're the Gunkles.
Is she a junior going over? Or?
She is. Yeah, she's entering into her junior year. Yeah, I can't believe that.
My nephew goes to college on Thursday.
Wow.
My eldest nephew George. In Toronto, University of Toronto.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, I know all my friends that have kids, I'm seeing they're posting. It's a mixed emotions for them.
Oh, Tanya Burchard, our good friend, whose book release party is coming up on the 2nd
at American Blues Theater. I saw that. I'm so happy for her.
Yes. Very excited. She's going through now because her first is heading off to college, and she's like, and she's never coming back. She's leaving me. I'm like, she's not leaving you. She is not leaving you. She's like, no, she's leaving me. Okay.
Oh, she's coming back.
I know. But all those parents out there who are sending off their kids to college, just remember what an incredible experience it was for you.
Yeah, if you went. Yeah.
When you went. And it's got to be, it's got to be hard.
I cried when Mom and Dad pulled away. I did cry. And then I didn't cry again. The next day I was fine.
I had a very rocky start. To my time in Northwest. Oh, yes. I was look, here's the thing. I was a really book smart kid.
Yes.
But I was not very savvy just in the ways of life, because I grew up in suburban St. Louis, and I was basically on my own, and I was always busy in terms of do school and then swim practice, and then I would go to work at night, and then I would come home. It was just, I had very full days, and I wasn't very savvy. But the day that my mom dropped me off, I kept finding excuses of well, let's go take a walk, or let's go over here. And she's like, I should probably just go. I'm like, okay. And then I didn't know what to do. So I went to my RA. I'm like, what do I do? She's like, go to your room, put on some cool music, and keep your door open. Somebody will come by. And it was great.
Who gave you that advice?
The RA.
Oh. They were right.
Yeah, they were right. They were right.
But then life change. You meet people, and they're your lifelong friends.
But let me tell you, it was a rough first quarter for me because, like, I was the last group to register for classes. I had I was overwhelmed by all the possibilities, what's going on. I did not do very well my first quarter. Like, it was really bad.
A lot of kids, you know what? A lot of kids came from your situation.
Yeah.
I watched it, and some of them didn't make it past freshman year.
Right.
I mean, they just were overwhelmed by. I've never experienced this kind of freedom. And
it wasn't the freedom part. It was actually the studying because I picked classes that I didn't care about, you know? Oh. So it was like, I don't want this. And like, it was rough. You're talking to a kid who graduated with over a 4.0 from high school. My first quarter at Northwestern University was a 1.75.
It's funny because
wow.
I was the exact opposite of you.
Oh, you did the opposite?
Not book smart, not good grades, A-, freshman years. I mean, but you know, I graduated early from high school, and I got college credits before I went away. Oh. I graduated in January of 1974, and our school allowed that, and we had a separate ceremony, and I think that probably helped me because I had already had I had a semester and a half of college credits under my belt when I started.
Oh, all right.
So I felt comfortable with the academic stuff. I don't know. I was, it's like anything. I mean, a lot of it's
yeah, and don't get it twisted because I was on the dean's list the last 2 years of
course, yes, yes.
But it was like definitely a rocky start. So
yeah, and a lot of kids are, everybody's different, but your experience is probably a more universal one for kids. And
it was weird because since I went to like a public school and I was at this like private university, I didn't quite understand the whole concept of talking to your teachers or to your counselor, to people who are there to support you, having that conversation, because it was always like, no, you are the adult, I am the student, keep that separate. So
different. Yeah.
And it wasn't until I started teaching high school that I really and that was a big focus of that was part of the mission of the school, when the school culture was to be make sure that there's intergenerational relationships so that they feel comfortable coming to you with problems or questions or anything, like having sort of office hours. Yeah. So it was
good. Well, you were able to turn that into a positive for your students in the future. Yeah, my high school was pretty progressive, so it was a whole different. It was a brand new high school, so it was.
Well, I mean, again,
a different deal.
Again, mine was pretty progressive as well. But I just didn't need it because I was just kind of doing my thing and being busy. Anyway.
But here you are today.
Here I am today.
And everything worked out fabulously.
I am the Oprah of AM radio. Look out. I've got my Missy Elliott t-shirt on right now. We should probably take a little break right now. But before we go this part about Chicago is brought to you by Team Hochberg. If you are having trouble keeping up with your bills, it's time to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender, about a fresh start debt consolidation mortgage. So Sam, 56, he's a press operator earning $90,000 a year, living in a $300,000 single-family home with a $150,000 mortgage. Despite having equity in his home, Sam missed his January mortgage payment, which dropped his credit score more than 60 points and prevented him from refinancing until February of the next year. Now, if Sam had called Team Hochberg in December, they could have helped him pay off his debt, avoid missing his mortgage payment, and enhance his credit score. So if you are struggling with bills and have equity in your home, call Team Hochberg now. Not tomorrow, not next week, or next month at 855-563-2843. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of WCPT listeners, but they can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That number again is 855-563-2843 or visit the website you know and love, 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. We're going to take a quick little break, and when we're gonna try to dissect the news.
Oh boy, here we go.
Girl,
gird your loins,
and clutch your pearls, and stick with us. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Jen Grosshandler.
And I'm Chizzy Grosshandler.
We're with the Gender Cool Project, and you're listening to
Out Chicago!
Woot!
Welcome back to Ouch. They're having their first benefit coming up.
Are?
Yes.
How about it? Nice.
Well, I'm trying to get them on the show. We got to figure it out.
We'll get them.
I know. And hey, it's been a weird week of news this week. So that means that the Credo mobile phone and text line is open at 773-763-9278. And just a reminder, WCPT listeners can now get 25% off for 2 years at Credo Mobile with the code WCPT25. Credo Mobile, a progressive phone company that's better for all people and the planet. Visit credomobile.com. Girl, if we can remember back just to Monday, the week started out with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders babysitting Ding Dong at the White House, and the week ended with a raid of former NSA John Bolton's house, just as transcripts and audio of Gelatine Maxwell's and Todd Blanche's two-day chit-chat was released. But, what is going on?
Shiny object over here.
I know. It's all the distraction is so freaking annoying right now. I can't.
Epstein. Keep saying it. Keep talking about it. This is a lot of this, the voting, him coming out and saying, we're going to stop mail-in voting and voting machines. Again, part of me is like, well, the minute I heard that voting machine thing, I was like, he said that a couple days after he met with Putin. And sure enough, he comes out later and said, yeah, Putin thinks it's a bad idea too. I'm like, we're living in
and
a horror show.
Let's also not forget, in the middle of a press conference in the Oval Office where he just looked weird, holding no tie and with his little MAGA hat going on there. They're talking about FIFA. And in the middle of the discussion, he stops and he pulls out a picture of him and Putin, saying, you might recognize this guy, blah, 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 and he wants me to sign it, and so I'm going to sign it and send it back to my little boyfriend that I have over there.
We have a certifiable lunatic.
He is
running the country.
He is insane.
He is really nuts. He is nuts as nuts can be.
And what's really driving me crazy is how do other people not see it?
Well, Scott, this is me right now. How the Republicans, these fake patriot Republicans, can idly sit by while an authoritarian leader does his thing.
Yeah.
They're just thumbing, they're just,
twiddling their thumbs.
Twiddling their thumbs. Thank you. Twiddling their thumbs. These states' rights, patriotic, all-American, Republican, states' rights. And they're listening to a guy saying they're going to send federal troops to Chicago next.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get into that. I mean, the horror of this party is disgusting. It is, how dare they call themselves patriotic and lovers of democracy, because they are literally handing the keys over to an authoritarian regime.
Yeah,
and
it is.
It's just... It's making me crazy. Can you tell?
Same. And that is the thing that what is it going to take to get these people to understand? No, they're taking away your rights. They are taking away people's rights. This is a not so slow march towards fascism.
Yep.
That's going on here. You've got, has it been 2 or are we now in week 3 of the military presence in D.C.?
2 or 3, 2 weeks.
I mean, everything is all kind of a blur because everything's going on. The way they just gerrymandered, redrew the districts in Texas and everything. The way that he's here's the thing that should be also just really, really just raising your dander is that he's going after the Smithsonian. He is going after the Smithsonian, particularly anything that has to do with diversity, equity, and conclusion, or telling history in a factual matter. They are whitewashing history. They are removing parts. Now, we've always known that history is told by the victors. And what we have been trying to do as a country in order to form a more perfect union is to get different perspectives on historical moments. That is why there are so many different kinds of museums within the Smithsonian network. They are showing it from perspectives of from African American people. They're showing it that there's a Jewish perspective. There's so many different perspectives, and they are cherry picking and plucking things out and erasing them. Forget any LGBTQ plus nods here, because that's now deemed unwarranted. On his social media site, Ding Dong posted, the museums throughout Washington, but all over the country, are essentially the last remaining segment of woke. The Smithsonian is out of control, where everything is discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. Nothing about success, nothing about brightness, nothing about the future. Like, okay, can somebody please tell me, what were the good parts of slavery?
Yeah. I'm sure he'll come up with one, knowing him.
I mean, he'll probably, well, the economy was great.
Right.
Well,
exactly.
It's because you had free labor and a community that had zero rights. And it is just maddening.
It is maddening. We have a cruel, racist, bigoted, horrible human being running this country and running the free world. And I don't know what we're going to do here. I just don't. I'm throwing my hands up right now.
Well, a big old shout out to Governor Newsom.
Yes.
Over in California. He has won the internet.
Yes,
First of all, with his Twitter account. Which latest? I mean, everything is so great.
The one hugging the flag. Did you see that this morning? There
have been so many that are just delicious. He is openly mocking Ding Dong and the way he communicates, his style of communication. You've got him hugging the flag. You have him, a painting of Governor Newsom being prayed over by Tucker Carlson, Hulk Hogan with angel wings, and Kid Rock praying over him. He's released all of these all caps sort of text, the tweets that are just brilliant, that are mocking the style of Ding Dong, how he does things, and MAGA is furious. What they're saying is like, it's not cute. He doesn't seem professional. He's the governor of a state. He shouldn't be doing that.
Oh, duh.
And it's like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Double standard much?
Beyond double, but like they don't even see that the fact that it is like, this is exactly what he does. Thanks for your attention to this matter, and then I'll end it with his initials. This matter, it is kooky.
Yeah, we have a lunatic running the country.
We are
an absolute lunatic.
We are living in the upside down.
We are.
Is what's going on.
And did you happen to see Jack White's post? Did you hear about it?
Yeah.
He nailed everything that we're all thinking.
He was just criticizing how gaudy and ugly the Oval Office has become. And that set him off. And then Jack White had a really lovely response.
The response was to the whole thing. So precious.
Go and just Google that. Google Jack White.
I was a casual fan of his. I'm a huge fan of his now. The way he, just that response is just everything.
Yeah, it was very much chef's kiss.
Yeah, it was.
So I don't. If they can't see that this is just a reflection of this guy's behavior, and Gavin Newsom is mocking him. How are they going to see all the bigger things, or the little tiny chips that are like the death by 1,000 paper cuts that's happening right now to everybody with their liberty? Things are so. They're just bad, and they're getting worse for a lot of folks, and I know that a lot of folks are very, very nervous. I am so happy, and we are so lucky that we live in a state like Illinois, because Governor Pritzker announced the launch of Illinois Pride Connect on Thursday. It's becoming the first state in the nation to offer a legal hotline for LGBTQ plus people. We do have a clip of Governor Pritzker from Thursday.
God bless him. Here he goes.
I said backstage to somebody, with all the things that are coming at all of us, for us to be able to go on offense and not be on defense is what I love about this state and its government. And the state of Illinois today, I am announcing, is launching a first of its kind legal hotline for LGBTQ individuals across the state. Building upon the state's transgender and gender diverse wellness and equity project that we launched at the beginning of 2024. We will be the only state in the entire United States that provides free legal advice to protect the LGBTQ community. Illinois Pride Connect will provide resources on healthcare and education, on immigration, social services, family protections, and beyond. It will answer frequently asked questions. It will inform individuals of their rights and provide advocacy tools. Together, we are fighting ignorance with information. We're fighting cruelty with compassion.
I mean, and that is my governor right there. We are very, very lucky. We need more people like Governor Pritzker, like Governor Newsom. Right now, the name of the New York governor is escaping me right now.
Holcomb.
Governor Holcomb.
Kathy Holcomb. And Wes Moore from, what state is he from? The small little one.
Rhode Island? That's a tiny one. Delaware is a tiny one,
too. It's Delaware, I think. He's great, too.
We just need leadership to be standing up, especially when they're talking about sending troops here to Chicago. Yeah. As next on the list.
Maryland. He's the governor.
Maryland's there. All right, cool.
I saw him today on one of the shows, and he was really pushing back. I heard Jamie Raskin said if he could find 2 Republicans, he'd do another impeachment.
All right.
I mean, there's so many things.
Of course, but now we can't find 2 Republicans because everybody's like falling in line. It's a real slippery slope that's happening. It's so slippery, in fact, that we probably should take a break. And when we come back, hopefully we will be able to shed some light and make things a little less slippery when we talk to Professor of Political Science at University of Oregon, Allison Gash, right after this. So please stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
David Dodd with the Chicago Black Gay Men's Caucus. Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT 820.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here along with Ella Miller, and we are very, very happy to have our first guest today, Allison Gash, professor of political science at the University of Oregon, contributor to the Washington Monthly, and co-founder and president of Our School, a nurturing and creative anti-racist space for LGBTQ plus young people. Allison, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
We did it, finally. Yes.
I know.
I love this.
Nice charm.
Girl, what a week, no? Do you have any thoughts on all of the distractions that are going around before we jump into anything?
I mean, I'm just trying to stay focused because I think we're just at the beginning, honestly. I think, I think things are just going to keep ramping up. We're going to have things lobbed at us left and right, and we just have to focus on our work.
Yeah. Well, part of our work, though, is trying to talk to people on the other side, know, and it seems like they are just falling into lockstep with what this guy says. Not even just like our elected officials or representatives, but we also have just like the population. How do we crack that nut?
Well, I think it's important to remember that just because, the loudest voices in the room don't represent all the voices in the room.
Right.
And I think, we have to be really careful when we sort of hear the loudest voices in the room doing exactly what you said, in lockstep with, all the stuff going on at the federal level. I think there's plenty of people in those rooms who aren't saying anything, who, for whatever reason, don't feel comfortable saying anything. And if given a chance, if given a space, if given a hand, would actually, find their way over to a more reasonable perspective. And so I think providing opportunities for collaboration, for providing opportunities for that kind of allyship building across the aisle is really important, because I actually do think there are people out there who are frightened, who realize either they made a mistake at the polls, or this is not the party that they signed up for, and want a way out, and are trying to figure out what that way out looks like. And for whatever reason, the current Democratic Party, as it as it's sort of presented nationally, isn't feeling like a good fit. And I think it's the role of folks in the Democratic Party, folks like your governor, to make it feel like a good fit.
Mm-hmm. So Allison, what kind, other than governors like our Governor Pritzker and Newsom, what else, in your opinion, is going to make the Democratic Party look appealing to these disenfranchised Republicans?
I think I'm always a big fan of local. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people's, political identities and political choices are a function of, what they experience at the local level, or can be a function of what they experience at the local level. I know a lot of communities that are really trying to do exactly, what we've described, trying to think about creating spaces that aren't about partisanship, but that are about, dignity, that are about rational policy, that are about public service and mutual aid. And I think if we can continue to do those things, but with some amount of discipline, right? Not just sort of scattershot, not ad hoc, right? Depending on who feels compelled to do so, but really being thoughtful about how we do it and investing some resources into it. I think that's the way that we pick off folks in some of these communities, because it doesn't take a lot. I think that's the story that we're told time and time again, is that the margins in some of these places, not all, right? Certainly not as many as we had hoped in the last election, but often it is the case that the margins in some of these places are pretty small. So it doesn't take a lot of that kind of work to make a difference. True.
Yeah, and I do love the fact that you're focusing on let's giving back to the community and mutual aid and finding things that from a local level. I think that is a brilliant place to start to have these conversations and to reframe it towards we want the same things. Yeah. It's just how we go about them. That's where there's a difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh,
yeah.
Girl. It's just so much,
Yep.
And then last week we saw the resurgence of Kim Davis. For folks who might not remember who she is, she is the Grumpy Cat sister wife, county clerk from Kentucky, who was jailed for refusing to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples, and now she is trying to bring her case to the Supreme Court. What exactly is going on, and what are some of the ramifications of that?
Yeah, so this is the gift that keeps on giving, as it were. So she, right at the beginning, right when Obergefell versus Hodges was ruled, and the Supreme Court lifted, the remaining bans on same-sex marriage. Right, Kim Davis says, I'm not gonna issue these marriage licenses. I'm not gonna do it. It's against my religious convictions. So she goes to court, and there are a series of various court battles, some of which she instigated, some of which the folks who were denied wedding licenses instigated. It came to pass that, alas, she needed to provide those wedding licenses, but what her state did is essentially provide a way for the clerks to have their names removed from the wedding licenses, which appeased her. So she felt, okay, all right, I can, quote unquote, sign my name to these wedding licenses so long as my name doesn't show up there. Then I'm not associated publicly with same-sex marriage. But several of the couples that were involved filed suit in civil court and essentially said, we want damages for the treatment that we received from Kim Davis. And so, through a series of those court cases, there were jury awards awarded to some of these couples. And she has decided that she doesn't want to pay the money that she is required to pay these couples for the damages that she caused by not giving the wedding licenses. So this particular case is not about her right to not offer wedding licenses, because she's, the state sort of fixed that for her. Her particular case is about not wanting to pay the money that she has been told she has to pay by, several levels of courts. So she is taking this case to the Supreme Court to say, A, I shouldn't have to pay the money, and B, I only have to pay the money because you all ruled that marriage equality should be legal and that there can't be any bans on same-sex marriage. And if you could just go back and redo that case, I wouldn't have to pay my money, and we could have the bans back in place.
Okay, this is so messed up.
Just like her dear leader.
Yeah.
It is so messed up. But so, like, do you think, because it's such a flimsy case, like you were saying, it's like, I don't want to pay this, so I'm going to take it to the Supreme Court. Is there a possibility of that actually opening up the door for them to look at Obergefell?
Well, if you had asked me like 2 years ago,
Right.
I would have been like, heck no, of course
Right.
not. Obviously, any rational person would see that this is not a thing. But, this time around, it's hard to say. With the Supreme Court, it just takes 4 justices to decide that they want to hear a case, even though it typically takes 5 to rule on it. So we're just talking about 4 folks on the court wanting to hear this particular case. And remember, this is not going to be the only bite at the apple, unfortunately, for marriage equality. There's going to be other cases that come up. The issue is going to be an issue of standing, fundamentally, right? Meaning who has an actual direct harm as a function of this particular ruling in Obergefell, or the fact that there aren't these bans on same-sex marriage, who is harmed by it. Kim Davis is saying she's harmed, right? And Alliance Defending Freedom, who's representing her, is saying she's harmed directly because she's got this actual bill she needs to pay. But there may be other ways that states can show their harm and bring a lawsuit that feels a little less flimsy or unstable. So it could be that there are 4 people on the court that want to hear a case that could reverse Obergefell, but maybe you don't want to hear this particular case because this particular case doesn't feel relevant, right? You could rule in Kim Davis's favor without overturning Obergefell, right? You don't need, right? The addition of we think Obergefell needs to be overturned. It's an add-on, right? It's not relevant to the direct claim that she's making, which is functionally about this sort of jury trial. And so it doesn't match up as well as perhaps another case could. And so we may have 4 that want to take a case, but we may have 2 of those 4 who don't want to take this case. But it also may be that we do have 4 that want to take this case because they feel like they can make the argument as good in this case as they could in another case, or as coherently in this case as they could elsewhere. And maybe they don't want to wait. My gut instinct, says that there are probably not 2 additional folks aside from Alito and Thomas who would want to take this particular case, simply because the sort of legal framework for why Obergefell is relevant is not obvious. But honestly, I don't know. I mean, it's a crapshoot.
Girl, that sound you hear right now is my eyes rolling back into my head, going like, this is so dumb. First of all, what harm is actually happening to people because people of the same sex are getting married?
Show us them.
There's none of that. Yeah. Girl, Allison Gash, I could talk to you for about 74 hours, but unfortunately we are running out of time. How can folks follow you, see what you're up to, what you're writing about, and we would love to have you back on the show sometime.
I would love to come back. I love being able to talk with folks who are smart and doing good work and trying to educate folks, and so definitely sign me up. I write quite a bit for Washington Monthly, so you can always find my stuff there. I'm on Instagram at Allison Gash. I'm on Blue Sky at 4Bs, FOURBEES. And you can always reach out to me via my email, which is gash@uoregon.edu.
Well, Professor Allison Gash, thank you so much for taking time out. Thank you for really breaking down this Kim Davis case, because it's just stupid.
Yeah, it's as loony as we thought it was. Thank you for that.
It is literally as stupid as you thought it was.
Yes, there we are. Okay, good. Thank you for confirming that.
You're welcome.
Allison Gash, thank you for joining us today. Enjoy a beautiful Sunday. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the second hour of Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
Welcome back to the second hour of Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, just rolling along.
Yes, we are.
On this beautiful day.
It is a beautiful late summer day.
We've got a great second hour lined up for you. A little bit later on this hour, we are going to be speaking with the Associate Director of Camper Experience for Action Camp, which brings leaders from GSAs and youth groups from across the state.
Gay straight alliances, for those who are listening.
It's also now Gender and Sexuality
Alliance.
Alliance.
Good to clarify, because not everybody knows.
Right. Thank you very much for that. Because it used to be Gay Straight Alliance when they first started, and now it's expanded more to like Gender and Sexuality Alliance. Let's not be so binary.
Yes.
Not just gay and straight. There we are. So we're going to be speaking with them coming up a little bit later on. But right now, I am so very excited. Mm-hmm. Speaking of rolling along, see what I did there? Because we're about to release our inner geeks here. Because Dungeons & Dragons 20-Sided Tavern, see, rolling along. Rolling. Do you get it? Like dice?
Oh.
Okay. Is this thing on? Hello. Okay, so the Dungeons & Dragons 20-Sided Tavern is now playing at Broadway in Chicago's Broadway Playhouse at Water Tower Place. It's an immersive theater experience that takes audiences beyond the tabletop and onto the stage, where each performance combines comedy, emotion, thrilling moments to deliver a unique narrative shaped by the audience. And joining us now is one of the show's special guest stars and a producer on the show, Anjali Bomani. Hello, Anjali.
What's up, guys? Hello. So good to see you guys.
Hello.
Nice to have you.
I love that this is now becoming like a yearly thing that we have a conversation. We had you on when you were coming into town to do the vagina monologues. We got to catch up last year at the Meow reunion at Northwestern, and now you are slaying.
I see what you did there.
Thank you. With the Dungeons & Dragons 20-Sided Tavern. Tell us about the show.
Sure. So for those who don't know anything about Dungeons & Dragons, Dungeons & Dragons, the 20-Sided Tavern, kind of lives at the intersection of live improv theater, tabletop role-playing game entertainment, which I'll get to in a second, and mobile gaming, because the audience gets to participate in the show and make decisions for the characters, in fact, decide who we are playing using their phones throughout the performance.
Oh my gosh.
The audience is actually helping us throughout the show. They are part of the story. They're forming the narrative along with us. And Dungeons & Dragons itself is a tabletop role-playing game, which is set in a high fantasy world where, much like live improv, you are making a story collaboratively with everyone around you. But instead of having just the audience members giving you suggestions, you are using dice to determine how well or how poorly you are able to do something. So say you want to run over and, you have an enemy and you're trying to use your sword and you're trying to make an attack. You roll a 20-sided die, which is sort of iconic to the Dungeons & Dragons game, and you roll it, and the higher you roll, the more likely you are to hit. And the lower you roll, chances are you're not going to hit. And so you may decide to do something very heroic, but those dice are going to let you know how well you can do it.
So for someone that is not familiar with Dungeons & Dragons, do they have to have prior knowledge to get into this?
Absolutely none.
Okay, that's what I was hoping you would say.
Bit.
Okay, good.
000. We have, what's so wonderful about this show is that it's such a great gateway for so many people to understand that this is a game about storytelling. You don't need to know anything about the mechanics. You don't need to know anything about the dice. You don't need to know. All you need to know is that good number, high number good, low number bad, and everything else is storytelling.
Okay, I can do that. I can do those things.
Yeah, it's so easy, right?
All right, yes.
And what's been really lovely is watching in these audiences, we have multi-generational families coming in. There's something for the kids. There's something for older folks. There's something for all of us in the middle. There's something for people who play, something for people who don't play. And you get to participate as an audience member as much or as little as you want to based on the experience you want to have.
Fun.
I know, right?
Yeah, because a lot of couples, there may be one that's really into it and they want to bring their spouse, and we can tell them it's okay. All you have to do is roll the dice and you're going to be right in there.
Yes.
Perfect.
We have had many, many people say, oh, my God, usually I walk into the room and I see my husband or my wife, playing this game, and I'm like, oh, they're doing their thing again. But now I get it. Now I get what they're doing, and it's so fun.
Awesome. New converts and everything. What was your, I remember, like, my brother playing Dungeons & Dragons when I was a kid, and he had, like, the big, like, books of monsters and things. Like, I was just enthralled by them. I would just go through and, like, oh gosh, why can't I think about what is that one that's just an eyeball?
Just not the Beholder.
The Beholder. Thank you so much. It was yes.
So Scott, here's the fun thing. I started playing when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
So even when you and I met each other in college in it was something that was such a part of my makeup. But back then, it wasn't as mainstream. People weren't as accepting of it as being something that was cool or whatever. But with the advent of a show called Critical Role and Dimension 20 and Stranger Things and all of these things, people are starting to recognize that this is such a fun way of just getting together with your friends and telling stories. And now we get to adapt it into multiple different mediums. So the 20-Sided Tavern is making that happen in such a wonderful way because it is enabling us to bring it to the live theater, to this improv, and also Chicago being the perfect place for us to launch the tour.
Right.
It actually came here in a completely different incarnation a couple of years ago, but now there's a new adventure. There's a brand new cast. Oops, that's my 10-minute call. Look at that.
Oh, all right.
No, we're fine. They know. They all know.
Right.
They can't do the show without me. They'll wait for me.
They'll wait for me.
Yes, they will.
But it's a completely different show than people have seen before. We have had people in the off-Broadway run. We actually had a super fan named Mikey who came over 60 times.
Wow.
Because the show is completely different every night. The cast rotates, and we have a wonderful, really exciting rotating cast of guest stars coming in. I'm finishing up today. We're bringing in Abria Iyengar, who is a huge legend in this space and also one of my dearest friends. We have Erica Ishii coming in. We have Damien Haas coming in. We have Jack Zwipper from Boston. We have all sorts of people coming in as guests to jump into this kind of improvised magic. But the stars of this show, I don't want to downplay how amazing our guest stars are or myself, but this cast is absolutely extraordinary. The way they work together on stage, I am mind blown.
Look, I've got goosebumps so right now thinking about it. Like, it sounds just so thrilling and so just fun, just like go and like get into a completely different world, watch people create things right in front of your eyes. They have to take audience suggestions and audience input and how everything works. Like, how much fun is this show? How in the world did you get involved with this madness?
Mm-hmm. Obviously I'm kind of involved in the Dungeons and Dragons world in my, obviously my day job is acting. We know this. I do television and I do voiceover and all of that. But I'm also in this tabletop gaming world and video game world. And I went to see the show when it was off Broadway, and I immediately sat down with the executive producer, this wonderful gentleman named David Carpenter, who also created the platform that we use to enable the audience to use their mobile phones. It's called Gamiotics. So I sat down with him and I was like, when am I doing your show? Because I'm coming in to do your show. And they brought me in April as a guest star. And that's when I saw just the magic, the absolute magic, not just of being on stage, not just of the audience reaction, but of the community that they built around this too. Because so many people really understood that this is a safe space. This is a space that you can come to find your community. When you're playing these games, there is always a seat at the table for you. There is always a place for anyone. When I was a little girl growing up in Orange County, California, and I was a little Indian girl, and there weren't a lot of people who looked like me, it didn't matter because there was always a seat at the table. I could be a hero, too, when I played this game, and that's what people are experiencing here at the Tavern. So when I saw that, I just was like, that's it. I got to come in. I got to be a part of bringing this to the world and bringing this to the rest of the country because there are so many cities that are not really well served when it comes to new theater or groundbreaking theater. And so we're taking it all over. And I jumped on as a co-producer right then and there. And it's been a wonderful ride ever since.
So is this your first foray into producing live theater?
No, I actually produced a couple of small things before, but this is my first foray in a long time.
All right.
And generally speaking, I haven't necessarily produced work that was already in the works, because I'm usually producing things that I'm creating from the beginning.
Right.
But this one, I just fell so in love with all of it. Like I said, the extraordinary cast, the team behind it, the heart behind it, that I wanted to get on this train and help in any way I could.
Girl, look, here's the thing. I'm one of your biggest fans. You know, like,
No.
I really, like, you are so freaking smart. You are so incredibly talented. You are so funny. You've had such an incredible career, especially like with your role in the gaming world. How did all that come about?
Honestly, I wish it was a sexier story, Scott. I just started auditioning.
Just shut up.
Most of my entire career is, I didn't know I was allowed to do that. Oh, okay. So if an audition shows up, I'll say yes, 9 times out of 10. And for the longest time, it was 10 times out of 10. And what that enabled me to do is find all of these different ways and these different avenues to come in and do the storytelling. And the education that they gave us at Northwestern was so much about adapting one medium into another, and so much about crossing those streams. And so I've been very lucky, because my whole career has been a series of those things. Oh, I didn't know you were going to let me do an opera. I'll audition, and you decide if I can do it or not. I'm not going to discount myself. I'm not going to discount myself before I go to the audition, even if I am concerned I may not be able to do it. And then I got cast, and the same thing with video gaming, and the same thing with all of that. I was a gamer when I was a kid, so I understood the assignment, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But it just happened because my agents at the time started sending me on these other auditions, and it opened up this beautiful world and this beautiful community. Gaming community is so powerful. And I really think it's because when you are playing a video game, or when you are playing a tabletop game, there is a sense of agency as a player that you don't necessarily get when you're going to normal theater. You definitely get from the 20-sided tavern, because you are connecting as well and you are being a part of the story.
Right.
But a lot of times when you're watching TV, you're watching the story, but you're not getting to actually make decisions for the hero. When you're playing a game, you're identifying with that hero. You have the agency to tell the story in your way, one way or another. So when you have that, then you step out into the world and you have that agency that you felt 5 minutes ago when you were playing the game, and now people can take that and move it into the world and take it with them where they go.
Girl.
So I think games are so empowering and so beautiful. It's such a great way especially for those of us who have come from maybe underrepresented communities, to be able to find heroes with such complex and unique stories and I have a character named Symmetra who is an Indian architect who is on the spectrum. And so she's a female in STEM on the spectrum, and she's a superhero. So that multi-intersection of all of the different levels of who she is, plus her backstory, which is extraordinary, we get these complex and unique characters that are not based on one aspect of who they are. And when people get to see that, when they see humanity represented that way, that's where the normalization comes. That's where we all start connecting with each other, because no matter what, there is someone for you to identify who is powerful in that game.
Oh, my gosh. Speaking of a beautiful, remarkable, and inspiring, that is you to the core.
No, you were born to play this role,
I'm telling
too.
you. Well,
this is amazing.
Like, again, we were talking like Broadway and TV and movies and video games, a career that spans all sorts of media. And I love how you were able to be like, oh, yes, we were taught how to adapt one thing into another thing. It's just perfect. Anjali Bhimani, I know this is your last show, and thank you so much for taking time out, because you're about to go on stage, literally. Friends out there, don't miss Dungeons & Dragons 20-Sided Tavern. It's now playing through September 28th, so you got a couple more weeks to go check it out. It's at Broadway in Chicago's Broadway Playhouse at Water Tower Place. For tickets and more info, go to BroadwayInChicago.com. Anjali Bhimani, break legs today. Enjoy your last show. Love you more than my luggage.
Well, that's saying a lot, because I know you travel. So
you know, girl. There we go.
Bye, guys.
All right, bye. Thanks so much. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, there is more Out Chicago right here on WCPT.
Welcome back. I'm Kim Hunt with Affinity Community Services. You're listening to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller, rolling along here. Hey, and just a reminder, this week on Choose Views, Richard's guests will include Texas State Representative Trey Martinez-Fisher, Aya Ibrahim, former senior advisor at the Department of State and the Biden administration's National Economic Council, Chicago Teachers Union President Stacey Davis Gates, journalist and transgender rights activist Aaron Reed, and comedian and political activist Cliff Cash. Yes, that's this week on Choose Views, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. Central on WCPT 820 AM, the Heartland Signal website, tune in, YouTube, and Facebook. It's like a big week of shows coming up there for Richard.
Yeah, lots.
I know. Well, we figured since we've also got, the Chicago Teachers Union is going to be coming on, I thought it was a great idea, since CPS went back to school, to talk to folks about Action Camp, which brings together leaders from GSAs and youth groups across the state to learn from one another and shape the Safer Schools movement. And joining us now is Associate Director of Camper Experience for Action Camp, Jess Levine. Jess, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. We're so happy that you were able to join us today and that you're out there doing the work. Can you tell folks out there a little bit more about the history and mission of Action Camp?
Absolutely. So Action Camp has been going on since 2012. It started as a weekend retreat for high school age youth leaders and has transformed over the last several years into a 5-day sleepaway camp. And so it is a partnership of the Illinois Safe Schools Alliance, which is a project of Public Health Institute of Metro Chicago, and Youth Services of Glenview Northbrook's Pride program. And so each summer we bring together about 60 youth participants. And so 15 to 16 of those folks are youth leaders, and so they really plan all of the learning programming that happens at camp. So whether that is, workshop on the history of ballroom, or how to start a GSA in your school, or the intersectionality of LGBTQ issues and religion. Those are all completely youth-driven, youth-led workshops. And then the other piece that the youth leaders organize for the campers are our social events. And so they work really, really hard to make sure that camp feels like an inclusive space for everybody, and campers at the end of the week really walk away feeling like they know that they have a place where they can express their true selves and bring that energy back into the school year, and really feel like they can enact change in their home communities.
Excellent. Jess, you said it's a statewide program. How do you go about getting kids involved as campers or youth leaders from downstate Illinois, do you get any pushback from the schools down there, or is the mission more difficult in some of the areas in Illinois, or how do you go about getting the word out and getting these kids where they need to be?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there is a statewide GSA network, and so I would say that's one of our primary recruitment strategies is sponsors, so whether that's a high school teacher, a high school counselor across the state who are connected to young people can share about camp that way. We also work with a number of organizations who have LGBTQ youth groups outside of school across the state. So partnering with organizations like Youth Outlook or Center on Halstead, again, Youth Services of Glenview Northbrook, where, we tend to get folks in the northern suburbs. And so we really do pull from across the state between all of our GSA partnerships with different schools across the state and those additional agencies that have outside of school programming. And so usually, even in the areas where you might not expect to find a GSA or find a youth group for young people, we try to get as far of a reach as we can. And one project that I took on this year was figuring out if campers had other campers who lived close by. So even once they left camp, they felt like they could still maintain a connection with other people.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. In our previous segment, we were talking about GSAs, and I just want to make sure that I was giving correct information. I know when they first started, it was Gay Straight Alliances, but I believe now GSA stands for Gender and Sexuality Alliance. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, so
okay.
Most schools have switched to that language.
Yes, okay, right. Cool. I just wanted to clarify, make sure I wasn't saying anything wrong.
You want to be giving the correct information.
Right? But, I couldn't imagine... I mean, I'm in my 50s, and I could not imagine being when I was in high school. I knew I was gay, and I kind of came out to some certain people, but I could not imagine being in a place where I could be out and be a part of an organization that is youth-driven. I feel very fortunate in my life, in terms of like my spiritual life and like in terms of like a theatrical life. I was lucky enough to be involved with some programs that were all for kids by kids, or let's say for students by students. And what an empowering thing that Action Camp must be. How do you clearly we have like a return people coming back because you have these youth leaders who are running a bulk of the workshops. How do you work with the students to help create the program, or do you just kind of step back and let them do their magic because young people are incredible?
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I would say it's definitely a both and. We want to make sure that they feel like they have support from staff. So we have an entire team that is devoted to supporting them really from they go through, an application process to become a youth leader, and then they have an orientation, and then they meet throughout the summer pretty much on a weekly basis to develop their workshops. And so they are working in support. They're receiving support either from, a staff person from one of the partner organizations, or an intern who is supporting the project of camp. And then when we're at camp for all of the workshops, there is a staff person present. And so the staff role really is to jump in if the youth leaders are, looking or indicating that they need some backup dancing. But that's sort of the language that we use, is that the adults are kind of like the backup dancers, and the youth leaders are, putting on the main show.
They're Beyonce.
And so, exactly right. And so most of the time they really get to pick topics that they already have a passion about, or something that they want to maybe learn more about, and then share that information. And then the grown folks, we're really there to make them feel like if they are struggling or they, forgot some material, that we can support them in making their workshop feel like a success.
Is there any challenge to getting kids to participate? I mean, do you have to kind of, do you have enough that just, they want to be a part of it, or do you have to kind of get in a little deeper and try and recruit kids that may be shy about it, or, for example?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I would say over the week of camp, we really see some transformation in young people. So maybe on the first day, they're getting out of the car. If they've never been to camp before, they are feeling nervous or a little reserved. And then I think because we set a clear expectation from the beginning of camp that, one, you get as much out of it as you put into it, and that we really value young people's voices, and we want to hear from them, and we want them to feel that even if they're coming as a camper and not a youth leader, we need the campers' voices too. We need to, engage in conversation and have them be present in order for camp to run. And so we start off pretty quickly. The first day, the youth leaders run workshops all on our camp values. And so that's really the campers' first opportunity to get a flavor of what the workshops will feel like, and that we're really interested in building a learning community together.
Nice.
Oh my God! Nice. What had this been available? Imagine, it's just so wonderful.
Thank goodness it is now.
It is. Yeah. This seems kind of like a dirt doy kind of question, but can you talk about the importance of fostering future leaders within the community?
Absolutely. Yeah, I will say, looking at the feedback that we get from campers at the end of the week, there is so much there around, I feel more confident to be able to go back to my school community or, the community I live in and advocate for myself, advocate for other people. It really fires them up to go, and I think whether or not they are somebody who is, naturally wanting to be on the front lines, or somebody who maybe discovers that one of their strengths can still be used in advocacy work, maybe even if they're not, a super out there person. And so I think that's another benefit of being at camp, is that they can see all different types of leadership and all different ways to be involved in a movement and, in making the world more of how we want to be living in it.
Yeah, it is truly remarkable. I used to be a high school teacher, and to see this sort of work happen and to see young people and students really grow into their beliefs and what they are willing to fight for is always just so incredible to see this.
And encouraging.
Yeah. Now, I know that this is a partnered there's a partnership here, and it's with the Public Health Institute of Metropolitan Chicago, and you are with Youth Services of Glenview and Northbrook. Can you tell us a little bit about that organization?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we are a community mental health organization in Glenview. The agency has been around in some iterations since the 1970s, and presently, our main focus is on sort of empowering young people and making sure young people feel happy, healthy, and hopeful. And so our Pride program specifically serves young people from kindergarten through high school, through weekly support groups, and our Pride Lead, which is our youth leadership program. And so even, throughout the year, there are leadership opportunities for young people. And then often, if they are in our Pride Lead program, we encourage them to apply to be youth leaders at camp. And we also offer, one of our groups is a monthly parent and child kind of social space. And so that's the Pride side of things. We also offer other youth development programs and then more traditional, individual and group therapy.
Yeah, all I got is Whitney Houston going in my head right now. I believe the children are our future.
Yes, absolutely.
It's wonderful, and I love that you have introduced. Though I may have misheard this, but you're introducing a new way you're checking in on the participants of camp, creating a network. Did I mishear that or?
Yeah, no. So we. Sometimes, campers come to camp and they don't know if there are other people in their area or who lives close to them, and especially for our folks who live maybe in more rural areas or further downstate, they're not kind of in the Chicagoland area or kind of the collar counties. I felt like it was important this year to make sure that they knew, there's at least one person who's, 40 minutes away from me or 30 minutes away from me. And so in this next week, when we sort of do our follow-up email with campers of just, we hope everyone's school year is starting off well, and we're still here for you. We're going to include in that if they are interested in connecting with other folks and they want to confirm who lives close by, that we have that information available for them.
I love that. And will these sort of check-in moments continue throughout the year? And will these student leaders who, when they say go back to, Springfield or, Champaign, will they be able to use y'all as a resource to help? I need some ideas or bounce some ideas, this is what we're planning for our next event or things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we, we encourage all of them to check out both, Youth Services and PHIMC have youth leadership programs or youth advisory. Ours is Pride Lead, and then PHIMC's is called the Youth Advisory Board. So we encourage folks to check those out. But certainly, yes, they have our contact, and they can reach out to us and use us as a resource. And campers have definitely done that. We do kind of about a 1 month check-in after camp, and then the next one we would do is at 6 months. And then on April 1st is when camper applications open. And so any previous campers, they all receive an email that day to say, if you want to apply again, or maybe this year you think you'd like to try being a youth leader instead of a camper, now is the time to do that.
Oh, yay. Look, I am standing up and applauding right now. It is such incredible work and such a valuable experience for the campers, for the youth leaders, and for the backup dancers. I'm assuming as well, just to see people really coming into their own and understanding, getting a bigger understanding of just LGBTQ issues and histories and et cetera. But amazing. If folks want to find out more information about about Action Camp or Youth Services of Glenview Northbrook, how can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Action Camp has web pages on both. If you search the Illinois Safe Schools Alliance within PHIMC, and also Youth Services website, which is ysgn.org. So it's the acronym of Youth Services of Glenview Northbrook.org. There are pages about Action Camp specifically, and then at Youth Services, our Pride program more generally, and then the other services that we offer. And both of these organizations are nonprofits, and all of our campers come to camp with the option of it being fully scholarshiped. And so, we obviously do lots of fundraising to try to cover those costs for campers who would not otherwise be able to attend.
Any fundraisers coming up, Jess, that we should know about, that we can tell our listeners?
So typically we get the big fundraising going for camp closer to, March, April. But certainly I think throughout the year, every little bit helps out.
Right. I'm sure.
If you're touched by this conversation and want to donate, it's always a good time to help fund this great project. Great.
Well, Jess Levine, Associate Director of Camper Experience for Action Camp and a member of Youth Services of Glenview Northbrook, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you so much for the inspiring work that you are doing with young folks. Again, it can't be stated enough of like what an incredible resource and experience this has to be for young folks who are just trying to make a change.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us and uplifting the project.
Well, and reach out we'll circle back to you around in the springtime so we can help get some butts in seats and get you some do-re-mi so kids can go to camp.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. We would love that.
Done and done. It's on
You're
the
welcome.
books. Fabulous. Jess Levine, have a wonderful rest of your Sunday and enjoy this beautiful weather.
Well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the final thrilling show-stopping moments of Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Hi, this is Renee Taylor. You're listening to Out Chicago, WCPT 820.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller. Rolling along here. Hey, just also want to let you know that tomorrow on Driving It Home, Patty Vasquez will be joined by Dr. Jason Bussell, Director of Chicago Community Acupuncture, Janice Rodriguez, who is just delightful. She is a producer of Las Locas Comedy, a Chicago showcase featuring Latina and Latinx comedians and other locas, and Jen Korotko, the approachable healer, Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Central on WCPT 820 AM, Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. I know we were talking earlier in the break. You brought up the possible threat, not the possible threat, the actual threat that has been said by the ding dong in the White House that he's aiming his sights on Chicago for putting more military.
And talks about our city in just glowing terms.
Well, but this is the whole thing about it's about retribution. Mm-hmm. This is all about retribution. Because Chicago, if you recall, chased him out of here.
Yes.
When he was running that first time, he was too chicken to get out of the car. Talk about taco time.
Yep.
Taco's been happening all this time. Trump always chickens out. And he just has it in his sight here that because we did not want him, now it's personal. But Chicago has always been the focus of people like, this place is so violent, this is so blah, blah. It's like, we're way down on the list.
Go to your red state cities.
Let's go to Memphis.
Yeah, Memphis.
Memphis is way up high. I remember having some lady that I used to work with chiming in about during his first term, she had posted something about there was a gay man who was murdered in Rogers Park while walking his dog. And she posted this, Chicago used to be a beautiful city, and now I can't come. A, you don't even know where that is. B, thanks so much for posting about the death of a gay man. That's really... Thank you for doing that, because I don't think that even kind of fit into her. I think she just read the headline and didn't read the rest of it.
Of course.
So it's but thank you. I know it's the senseless death of a gay man is especially just out walking his dog is really, really sad. But also you live in Memphis, who has a much higher crime murder rate, fill in the blank.
Number one right now per capita.
Yeah. So everybody just needs to back off Chicago. And the thing that gives me pause is we don't take crap here in Chicago.
No.
We don't. We're really nice. We're a very nice group of folks, Chicagoans. All my people who have come from the East Coast and live in Chicago, they're like, everyone's so nice.
Yeah, they love it here. I mean, a lot of New Yorkers, they love Chicago.
But we also don't take any guff. And we all know that the end goal of this whole thing is trying to create a military state.
Yes.
It's trying to implement martial law and to see how far people can go. The Marines are still deployed in Los Angeles.
They're still there. I thought they'd called most of them.
I think they're still hanging out,
And they don't want to be there. They don't want to be there either. No. They weren't trained for that.
No, and they don't want to. And there are people who are actually in the National Guard who are protesting this, who are saying, "I'm not here to go and to point guns at my fellow Americans." It's bananas.
And I'm trying to picture how we will, because we don't want to take it out on the individual soldiers that are here, because we know it's not.
They're following orders. That's what they're supposed to do.
But I want to see a lot of resistance if it does happen. I want to see marches. I want to see.
Oh, there will be. There will be. All of the protests we have been going to these protests this year that have been happening, and they keep getting larger and larger with each march and with each rally. And I think people are really coalescing behind the idea that we do not stand for fascism. We do not want to live in a military state. We do not, we are doing just fine. Let's go to some of these other cities who are in red states that have bigger problems than Chicago does. Because they'll talk about 100 people were shot this weekend. It's like, well, there were 3 million people who had a really good time.
Yeah.
Let's look at the percentages of everything that's going on. Yes, of course, any loss of human life is horrible.
Of course.
Yes, but there are bigger fish to fry, let's say, in Memphis.
It's all about retribution, as you said. This is all that it's about. He wants to show that he wants to show muscle and show that I'm in charge of your city, not you.
I know.
Which is just maddening.
What about states' rights, as we were coming back to that?
Republicans are all about states' rights.
But I guess not city rights?
No, not city rights, not state rights. No rights.
It doesn't make any sense.
The Marines are gone from L.A.
They are gone from L.A.?
Okay. But anyway, it was ridiculous. They were hanging around. We've all seen the pictures from D.C. They've stationed them at monuments.
So where are they going to go? Are they going to go to Water Tower Place?
Go to the Bean?
They're going to hang out at the Bean, take some pictures. Look, you can see the skyline in it.
Where the whole there's been no communication with anybody here in Illinois about it. Soldier Field, they're going to be outside Wrigley Field. Make sure the drummer guys are staying in line. The whole thing is. It's everything we've always feared about him and about people like him, right before our eyes. And as I said earlier in the show, when are Republicans going to stand up? When are those senators and congresspeople who claim they love democracy, they love America, to me, they are the most spineless group of individuals I've
100%
ever seen. And, I'm sure most of the town halls have stopped because we see how people are actually coming out and voicing their opinions. They don't want to hear it.
Nope.
But, if they come here, I just don't know. I can't even picture how it's going to be received.
Yeah. I don't know. I said, it's not going to go well.
It's not going to go well.
No.
But... is he looking for a fight? I don't know.
Well, and that's part of the thing too. That Jerry and I have been talking about this for a long time, because we have gone to so many of the marches and the protests. And it's okay, do not take the bait. Do not do any sort of violence, because they're just looking for an excuse to proclaim martial law.
Exactly.
But the thing is, we know that here in Chicago. Mm-hmm. We do know that, and we know how to get things done, and we know how to be smart about it, and we'll show up. Mm-hmm. So we just have to make sure that we are doing that.
Yes, indeed. I had a dinner. We had a dinner at Dear Friends last night, and one of they're from Michigan originally, and she told me her dad was voting for Trump, wasn't going to vote for Kamala. I said, "How's that go? What does he think now?" She goes, "Oh yeah, he hates him." Oh, he does. He still would never vote for, and he did vote for Gretchen Whitmer, like we were talking about earlier, the local. But for some reason. Even though he doesn't like the guy he voted for, but he still didn't say, "I wish I had voted for the Democrat." It's this party lines thing when it comes to the national. They're okay going across party lines locally, but when it comes to nationally. There's just
Is that because of Reagan? Is that because you don't go against the Republican Party?
I think that's when it started. Because
it's definitely when it started.
I think a lot of people used to say, I'm going to go for the person, for the character. There were people on both sides that used to say that. Mm-hmm. You don't hear that anymore. And I think the Reagan years started ushering that in.
It feels like that's when it really started doing that, and the whole thing, you don't go against the Republican Party.
Yeah, no matter what.
Which is but the Republican Party has left you.
Yeah.
It is no longer a bunch of fiscal conservatives
who believe in states' rights. Yeah.
It's now turned into this MAGA vitriol, racist, hatred, sexist, homophobic. We can keep going on and on and on about all this, but that's where we are.
Anti-woke. Woke.
And the whole woke thing,
it's called being aware of your past, being considerate, being compassionate to people, having your mind open, being diverse. They hate that. They hate that.
They do. And every time, that's why I've stopped referring it to DEI. I want to say diversity, equity, and inclusion.
That's right.
Because which part of that don't you like? Just go ahead and tell me. Tell me which part. Do you not like diversity? Do you not like people being treated fairly and equitably? Do you don't like everybody being included? Is that what's going on? Just show me your little clan hood.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want. So at least I know, because it's ridiculous. The stuff that's going on in the Smithsonian's that he wants to propose also to go into museums across the country is ridiculous. The way that books are being banned, the way that whole communities are being erased from websites, especially around LGBTQ issues. There's for Stonewall, they took away the T. They took about transgender folks when trans folks were the people who were leading the charge at the beginning of the Stonewall riot, that led the charge for the entire LGBTQ civil rights movement. That's being taken away.
Erasing of history. It's just, it's frightening. We're in a frightening position.
It is. It's a very frightening position, which is why we've got to make sure that we stand up and we keep telling our stories and we keep telling people no, this is what happened. This is how it all works.
Yeah.
But at least we've got to look forward to the Kennedy Center honors.
Oh, we do. I can't wait to see him as the MC.
Oh, my God.
The master of ceremonies.
Gross. Look, this whole list of, the whole thing about... again, friends, the purpose of fascism...
Mm-hmm.
Keep them poor, keep them sick, and keep them uneducated and uninformed. All right? And that includes culturally. There's being a cultural takeover that is trying to happen within our government. They've already, one of his first acts was I'm going to be in charge of the Kennedy Center now. And get rid of all these other people, and we will only have cats.
The one show they're going to
Cats and Les Mis they're going to have on there.
His two faves.
Yes.
Ironically, Les Mis.
Right? It's there was a revolution that's going on. Anyway. So this year, because his first term, he just kind of sat it all out.
Mm-hmm. It just didn't show up.
They just didn't do it.
See him, yeah.
I know. So now he's going to be, they've released the list.
Oh, and it's fabulous.
Girl,
although there's one person on there that I wonder is going to show up.
Sly?
Gloria Gaynor.
Oh, yeah. Well, so it's George Strait, Gloria Gaynor, Michael Crawford, Kiss, and Sylvester Stallone. That is the weirdest group of people. And, okay, no offense to Gloria Gaynor. What other song did she do other than I Will Survive?
I can't think of it.
Okay, thank you. I mean, huh?
Is she a Trump? Is she a Trump?
I don't know. But also, she's got to not be a young person, because I Will Survive was a big hit during the disco era. What merits this? I'm really confused about Michael Crawford. For folks who might not know him, he's the guy who played Phantom of the Opera on Broadway in the 80s.
Yes.
Okay. So, but
I don't know.
Kiss. I mean, I get Kiss. I get the appeal of Kiss. I don't understand how Kiss is doing this, because they were very, very anti-Trump for a while. And the fact that they said yes to this whole thing is...
Now, have we confirmed that these people actually said yes, or that they were just named? I'm not sure
Kiss,
about that.
There was a big question mark, because I know a lot of the band members, particularly Gene Simmons.
Yeah, he came out and made a comment about...
Was against him.
Yeah.
But that was earlier. I don't know if they've agreed to go on or what's going to happen, but it's just, I don't get it. I don't understand.
There's so much to not understand.
I know there's so much to not understand, but I think the thing to remember is they are trying to shape the culture with what's going around, with what is acceptable to be seen or heard or, consumed or whatever it is. That is for people who are screaming about free speech from the top of their lungs.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly because they want to say the R word out loud to people, and now they're like dictating what is suitable to be performed at our country's elite cultural institute that celebrates culture of all kinds. It's just mind-boggling. Jerry had a piece performed at the Kennedy Center.
He did?
Yeah, years ago, and I couldn't go because I was doing Noises Off.
Oh.
I'm so sad about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, but he had a piece that was performed there. I've had friends who have performed there, many different places, from like dramas to like improv, stuff from Second City. It's kiddos. We got to buckle up and we got to
stay strong and stay vocal. And don't be afraid to speak your mind. That's what they want. They want to make you afraid.
Yep. But just go ahead and talk about it, even if you got to put it in all caps on a social media website that's aimed at a certain ding-dong.
Can you say Epstein Files 5 times? Keep saying it, because he's trying to get your mind off of it.
Oh, we're not. Our mind's not going to go off of that.
No,
not at all. But my mind will be switching over to go into something nice, like a wonderful day outside. That brings us to the end of Out Chicago this week. I want to thank all of our guests, Allison Gash, the wonderful Anjali Bhimani, and Jess Levine. Paul, thanks for hanging out with us on this side of the wall.
It's
always great to see your mug. We got Matt back there taking care of everything. Thank you so much for running that. Ellen Miller, always a pleasure to see you. There you are with your autographed blouse.
Thank you.
With Casey. There we are. And I'm Scott Duff. And until next week, stay proud.